Hello and welcome back to Pre-Algebra. We are in Chapter 1, Section 5, solving equations with variables on both sides. All right, remember, before you do anything else, first, get rid of parentheses or grouping symbols, combine like terms. All right, and that's on each side of the equation. All right, so let's look back at an example of scales. So here's the scales. This is the top-down view. We've got a couple of sharks over here, and they like to eat munchies. Okay, so first off, we have to take off the things that are not sharks. We want to know how many munchies one shark likes to eat. So we have to take off 2. Now we have to keep these scales balanced, so we have to take off 2 on each side. All right. Now we have 2 sharks, so we have to divide this into 2 groups, right? So there we go, and then we take off 1 and the equivalent on the other side. That was dividing both sides into 2 parts. So now we have, okay, 1 shark likes to eat 2 munchies. Okay, but what happens if we have sharks on both sides of the scales? All right, well, first we take off the things that are not the sharks, take off the munchies. All right, and then we can take off a shark from one side and a shark from the other side. So if I have a shark on both sides, I have to eliminate it on one side, so I'm only left with a sharky shark on one side. And then again, we have 1 shark likes to eat 2 munchies. Okay, so if there is a shark, and our shark represented a variable term here, so if there is a variable term on each side of the equation, eliminate one of them. All right, eliminate means get rid of. Eliminate means get rid of by adding or subtracting. Okay, now hint, I suggest eliminate the smaller one. That's not always the better option, but it leaves you with a positive variable term. Okay, so let's have a look at how to do that. We've got a variable on each side, so we have 15 minus 2x equals 3x. Okay, so I want to eliminate the variable term on one side. We've got it on both sides. This is the smaller one, so I'm going to add 2x to each side. That cancels out. Now I have 15 is equal to 5x. Okay, so now we're multiplying here, so divide both sides by 5. And then we get 3 is equal to x, or we can turn that around and get x is equal to 3. Now it says check your solution. That means take the solution and plug it back in. So 15 minus 2 times 3 is equal to 3 times 3. Let's check to see whether that's true. 15 minus 2 times 3 is 6. Does that equal 9? 15 minus 6 is 9, and that equals 9. All right, checked that solution. Okay, using distributive property, remember our first steps, get rid of parentheses, combine like terms. Distributive property, I'm going to do negative 2x. Negative 2x, negative 2 times negative 5 is positive 10, equals 6 times 2 is 12. 6 times negative 1/2. 6 times a half is 3, so negative 3x. All right, now we have variable terms on each side. Again, I suggest eliminating the smaller one if it makes sense, unless the other one's by itself. All right, so add 3x to both sides. That cancels this out, and that leaves us with a positive term over here. So then we get 1x plus 10. Everything else carries down unhindered. All right, And now we circle the variable term we're solving for and eliminate what's outside. Again, eliminate means get rid of by adding or subtracting. Subtract 10 from each side. X is equal to 2. All right. Solving equations with no solution. Sometimes you might end up with something that you can't solve. There's no solution. For example, here, if we have 3 minus 4x is equal to negative 7 minus 4x, well, I would eliminate the variable term on one side by adding 4x to each side. And then I'm left with 3 is equal to negative 7. Is that true? No, 3 does not equal negative 7. So we say there's no solution. That's our symbol for it. Or we write no solution. Sometimes you might get infinitely many solutions. Let's look at this right here. Get rid of parentheses. All right, 4 times 3 is 12, divided by 2 is 6. X, 4 times 1 is 4. And then over here we have 6. Oh, let's do 6x plus 4 is equal to 6x plus 4. You can already see, well, that's true, right? 6x plus 4 is equal to 6x plus 4. But if we have variable terms on each side, eliminate one of them. Minus 6x, minus 6x. All right, this cancels out. This also cancels out. Now I have 4 is equal to 4. And that is true. That is always true. 4 does equal 4. But what does that mean? That means that we have infinitely many solutions, or we could say all real numbers. We use R, this R with a double line for all real numbers, or we could say infinitely many solutions. That means no matter what you plug in for x, it is always true. All right, let's look at writing and solving an equation. Here we have a couple of circles, and it says they are identical. Okay, so if they are identical, that means the radius in this one would equal the radius here. Now we're given the diameter, so we need to cut that in half. That would make that 2x. So x plus 2 is equal to, 2 is equal to 2x. Now we have a variable term on each side. Remember, when a variable doesn't have a coefficient, put a 1 there. So then we subtract 1x from each side, and then we get 2 is equal to 1x, or x. So x is equal to 2. Now the radius is 2x. All right, so we want to find the area. What is the area of each circle? The area is equal to pi r squared. So x is 2. The radius would be 2 times 2. That would be 4. So the area is equal to pi times 4 squared. That means the area is equal to 16 pi, and that is option C. Okay, and here we have an application. A boat travels X miles per hour upstream on the Mississippi River. The return trip is 2 miles per hour faster. Okay, so the return is x plus 2, right? The return is 2 miles per hour faster. All right, over here we have upstream and downstream. Okay, so that means we travel 3 hours at x miles per hour. That's 3 times x. On the return trip, we go 2.5 hours and at x plus 2, at a speed of x plus 2. All right, now we need to use distributive property. That gives us 2.5x, and then 2.5 times 2 is 5. So now we have 3x here. Subtract 2.5x from each side. Cancel this out. We get 0.5x is equal to 5. Divide by 0.5 on each side. And x is equal to 10. All right. So the boat travels 10 miles per hour for 3 hours upstream. The question was, how far do you go upstream? X is miles per hour, so 10 miles per hour upstream for 3 hours. That's 3 times 10 miles per hour. That means it goes 30 miles. 30 miles would be the answer here. And that's about all the fun we can have today. Thanks for checking in. Check in again next time when we're having fun in pre-algebra.